Welcome to this week-ending edition of the Defo Show with Lubie, right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Today, we go South Florida to the nation at large as we talk with the one and only Professor. He gives his top 5 reasons why the Super Bowl sucked. Now, just a little bit of explanation there. After the Super Bowl, because it was close, came down to the wire, the Bengals took the lead from the Rams. The Rams came back, took a late lead, and the Bengals looked like they may tie the game, send it to overtime, and Aaron Donald forced a game-ending sack, game-ending incompletion. Rams became champions for the second time in Super Bowl history for the Los Angeles Rams / St. Louis Rams organization. People started calling it a great Super Bowl because it was tight, it was close, came down to the wire. Well, our buddy the Professor took a deeper look into the Super Bowl and made an interesting assertion that actually, yeah, it was a close Super Bowl, but does that mean it was a good Super Bowl? So right here, the Professor Ken Jacobson himself, tremendous college football and college basketball handicapper, took a step back to give his top 5 reasons why the Super Bowl 56 actually sucked. Tune in here to the Defo Show with Lubie as the Professor tells you why it actually was not such a great Super Bowl on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
The Professor with us. We're ready to go. That was great. I mean, that camera spin and everything. The Professor with the Professor's big board of Super Bowl suck. Professor, it's all yours, my friend.
All right, Dave. So, again, people have been hyping this particular Super Bowl as one of the great Super Bowls of all time. And it's a tendency. People, anytime the game is close, want to tell you how great a game was. And this game was a close game, but it was not a great game. And we're going to show you why, Defo, with going to the big board. And as you have said, this week the big board is the big board of Super Bowl suck. And we're going to start you with number 5, the last play of the game.
All right.
Hard to see a little bit down here, but this isn't there's no joke here. This is just how much the gambling gods like to kick you in the balls, particularly if you had Cincinnati here. So if you see that circle in the bottom left-hand corner, this is a game footage. It's the coach cam of the last play of the game. And you see Jamar Chase running all by himself 7 yards away from Jalen Ramsey, who has fallen down on the last play. So if you remember, one of our favorite props of the game, on top of taking Cincinnati on the money line, was Jamar Chase and Cooper Kupp, a combined 199.5 yards. Defo, we were literally 80 yards down going into the last drive, and Cooper Kupp caught so many passes on the last drive that he got us close. All Joe Burrow had to do was look up there. So, again, even when things go well, if Joe Burrow is just paying attention, Cincinnati Bengals win the game, the prop goes over, Jamar Chase catches the winning touchdown, and on top of everything else, Jalen Ramsey's the jerk-off of the game for falling down on the last play, which, honestly, I got to say, Jalen, I'm not saying Jalen Ramsey's not a great quarterback, and I already can see the angry look on Lubie's face because of insulting a Florida State player.
Yes.
But nobody wants to hear from you, Jalen Ramsey. You're like the 5th best Ram. As great a quarterback as you are, nobody wants to care about you, and you ran your mouth all game and then got burned by T. Higgins, who hasn't been good since his last game at Clemson. So, again, and Joe Burrow's just paying attention. There's your game right there. That's how much the gambling gods like to get you, even when things are going well.
Are you overlooking the fact that I think that Joe Burrow was looking up at the lights because he was getting in the grasp of Aaron Donald at the time?
Unfortunately, he's not looking downfield, obviously, because as we see, Jalen Ramsey.
Oh, there it is, right there.
Jamar Chase is by himself.
That shows you, though. I mean, great illustration of the heartbreak of a degenerate. Where, and here's a guy literally with the defensive back on the ground. So any looping piece of shit pass would have been a completion there. And unfortunately, Burrow was so busy, running for his life that I guess he missed that one. But, I mean, you couldn't have dreamt up a more ideal situation. All right, that's number 5 on the big board of Super Bowl suck. The Professor.
And speaking of pieces of human garbage, Defo, that takes us to number 4.
Hey, Fieri.
Nobody loved the Super Bowl ads, but there was a notable low point in this one, and it is, of course, brought to us by Guy Fieri. In the words of the great Anthony Bourdain, aren't you over 50 years old now? At what point are you going to de-douche? Like, at some point, it's just not cool to be a guy who has spiked blonde hair wandering around, and in this case, advertising a Bud Light product, which is cherry-flavored malt liquor. Now, again, I'm not trying to take away anybody's freedoms. I'm all for do what you like. This is America. But at some point as a society, don't we need to stop celebrating this? Don't we need to stop encouraging this kind of behavior for grown adult males to be drinking watermelon-flavored malt liquor? Like, isn't that enough? This whole seltzer trend is kind of aggravating enough. It doesn't say anything good about us as a society.
No.
I kind of think it's time for America to say no to Guy Fieri and his fruit-flavored malt liquor. And probably for Bud Light in general. Because, look, I understand if you're a Bud Light drinker, you're desperate for anything that doesn't taste like the water that was mopped off the floor at a fast food restaurant. But I don't know that this seltzer thing's actually an improvement. At some point, Defo, we're going to lose a war because adult American males act like this. And I'm not saying, again, it should be made illegal, but 100% we should stop encouraging this kind of behavior.
I just got a check. A text, not a check. We'll never see one of those from Jack Namer. Not because of him, but he had the Bud Light people watching today.
Okay,
Exactly.
A potential sponsorship. They were enjoying the increasing numbers, and to complain, dishwater wouldn't have been bad enough. It had to be the water you mopped off a fast food restaurant floor, Professor.
Exactly.
All right, that's number 4 on the Professor's
Speaking
big board
of
of Super Bowl
disgusting
suck.
things
Yes.
they wanted to advertise, Lubie and I were actually talking about this one before the Super Bowl. But what the hell, McDonald's? Who the hell is looking at a Big Mac and thinking, I need to stuff chicken and a fillet of fish in there, too? Who on earth thinks
Is that really what they did?
Yes, it's a new thing.
New McDonald's secret menu that they advertised, the land, air, and sea combination, which is a combination of a Big Mac that they take and stuff a chicken patty in and a fillet of fish patty in. Like,
Beyond disgusting. Well,
all
that's
of those
tripling
items
the
are
disgust
disgusting to
portion.
start with. But but the nice thing is, Defo, and this is number 3A, the Super Bowl gave us an answer of who it was looking for a McDonald's with a chicken patty and a fillet of fish stuffed in. There's actually a customer base for this, and shockingly, it's 50 Cent. Go shorty, it's your birthday. Go shorty, it's your birthday. Who knew 20 years ago when he came out with that? It was because 50 Cent was looking for cake. We could find you in the club probably full of Bud. No, 50 Cent. Apparently we could find you in a club full of carbs. What the hell happened, Fitty? And let's be honest, the only club we can find you in these days comes with 3 pieces of toast, bacon, and looking at you, a double or triple helping of mayonnaise. The hell kind of device did they have to keep him upside down? I know they didn't hook that to the scoreboard because they were afraid it would collapse the damn thing.
Well, from SoFi Stadium, an unfortunate end to the halftime show today.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, that was a surprise. You're right,
Things in our
Professor.
youth just don't hold up, and 50 Cent is definitely one of them.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that you have an addendum on the big board of Super Bowl suck to number 3 is already sensational, but, very aptly described the presence, the oddball presence of 50 Cent in this, Super Bowl halftime show, which was, unannounced, right? I mean,
Yes.
Eminem brought him in at the last minute.
Yeah.
Said, I ain't going unless my guy 50 Cent is in there, and so they hung him upside down by his feet. I can't say hang him because,
No.
Roger Goodell, that'll be that. But, no, I mean, they literally, suspended him by his feet for this thing. And you're right. What held him up? All right. That's number 3 and 3A.
Yes,
With the
and we have
Professor.
2 and 2A also.
Right.
And I could honestly do an entire segment on this. It's not directly related to the Super Bowl, but it's a story that broke coming out of the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And that is the worst Super Bowl party imaginable in the history of the world. In case you didn't know, this is Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago result. They held a big Super Bowl party. On the right here, in case you haven't noticed, we have Bill Belichick. And on the dead in the middle, there's former Jacksonville Jaguars coach Urban Meyer.
Oh, my God.
I cannot imagine a worse Super Bowl party to go to than the one featuring Bill Belichick and Urban Meyer. It's like going to a political party and the special guests are Joseph Stalin and Paul Potts. Like
you didn't get a Hitler reference there.
I did
Stalin.
Come on, there was
but I intentionally skipped it.
we were wide open for the left hook.
You know, this is the thing, Defo. We look at this picture, and normally I'm only going to pick on the celebrities. I'm not going to mention the normal people.
Yes.
But I want you to notice this doofus right here in the middle, who I have no idea. It's just some regular guy. And he shows up to the Super Bowl party, and it's at Mar-a-Lago, so he has to dress formal. We'll get to that to begin. But what does he do? He breaks out the blue blazer with the gold buttons that everybody's grandmother gave them for their 13th birthday, so you'll have something nice to wear when we go out somewhere fancy. Like, I don't know about you, Deef, but I think everybody had that stupid blue blazer with the gold buttons.
Long
and personally, I have spent my entire rest of my adult life avoiding wearing the blue blazer with the gold buttons.
It was standard fare on
nobody's
TV.
ever looked good in it.
Yeah.
What was your other option? A sailor suit with a giant lollipop?
Or dressing like you came off a cereal box like Michael Jackson did when he was on trial for these various sexual assaults that he committed.
And let's take it to 2A, Defo, for the worst Super Bowl party in history. Let's just break it down here. Number one, who the hell wants to go to a Super Bowl party where you have to wear a jacket and tie?
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Have you
Yeah.
ever once been like, you know what I want for a Super Bowl event? A nice formal party. Secondly, why the hell is there a New York Giants helmet in the middle of the table? Does Trump's people have to make him think the Giants are in it to watch it? Like, and on top of it, I can't swear to it, but I think that's an ESPN football phone next to it. It's a football with ESPN written on it. I don't think ESPN has ever actually made a football, so I'm pretty sure that's an ESPN football phone. And lastly, look at you have to sit in these uncomfortable dining room chairs. Who the hell wants to go to a Super Bowl party that doesn't have a couch or a recliner to sit in? You got to sit at a formal table with dining room chairs, uncomfortable, not a big screen TV to be seen in the place. And what has he got? He's got those boxes of popcorn that they sell you at Costco for like $500, 500 of them for $10 to make you think you're at a movie theater when you're not even in a real movie theater. So we're going to give you like that half a movie theater boxes of popcorn.
Unbelievable.
I could go on about this party of all time. And I'm not trying to get political here, but this is clearly the worst Super Bowl party ever. Not because of the president or Donald Trump, not because of the weirdo 45 flag, which would be like me hanging a flag on my living room wall that says Ken on it when people because you have to meet Urban Meyer and Bill Belichick in formal wear to enjoy your goddamn Super Bowl. What the hell? Literally, if I sat there and said, when I'm rotting in hell, what will the Super Bowl party look like? This is exactly what it looks like.
Well, and also, not only did Donald Trump, but Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who was also in attendance, they convinced everybody there that the Giants were in the Super Bowl.
You know,
Who says they're not?
I got to tell you, Defo, I was actually wondering about the crappiness of the snacks. But Sarah Huckabee Sanders being there makes perfect sense now that she got to the buffet food table first, much like Lubie would at a fancy Super Bowl party. If I go to a billionaire's Super Bowl party and all they're serving me is popcorn, I'm going to start some incidents.
All right, well, that's number two. I mean, this is better than the unveiling of the top plays of the week here, where you're thinking, what could possibly top that? So, what's number one on the big board of Super Bowl suck?
I could do a whole big board just on this particular Super Bowl party. So it's going to take something very special to pass this up. And you know what, Defo? I thought for once, for the first time in like 25 years, we were going to have a Super Bowl where we could escape these people. But no, Rams score a touchdown. And what does NBC do? Yep. Ben Affleck and Jennifer freaking Lopez. I couldn't go one freaking year without having to deal with one of these massholes. First of all, like Ben Affleck at a Super Bowl. Yeah, Ben Affleck seems fun. The guy almost drank himself to death because he was so nervous about playing Batman. Yeah, you're so scared of making $40 million to run around that you almost killed yourself with liquor. And then Jennifer Lopez, number one, did you steal Urkel's glasses to go to the Super Bowl in? Was that supposed to look cool? And number 2, Jennifer Lopez, I don't care that you're like 50 years old and you're still gorgeous. What man would want you now that you bear the taint of Ben Affleck? I imagine it's like everything else in nature. When you find something poisonous that you're supposed to wear, they give off a faint scent. I would imagine that these days, Jennifer Lopez smells like Axe body spray and stale Sam Adams beer. Because that's exactly the scent I pictured Ben Affleck giving off. 1 year without these Boston celebrity bandwagon jerk-offs. I was supposed to escape. Tom Brady was retired. No Belichick, no Boston associates anywhere in the Super Bowl. I was going to be happy, and no, you had to ruin it, NBC. You had to ruin it with these two. You're killing me. Just
Tremendous.
1 year is all I wanted, Defo. And that, Defo, is why this year's Super Bowl sucked.
That was brilliant.
There is truly no one like the professor. Not only when it comes to handicapping, he knows his stuff, he knows his sports, but his comedic timing is tremendous. His sense of humor is outstanding. He is wise beyond all of our years. Plus, his viciousness, his sense of knowing how to poke at people, does a great job of all of it. Totally loved that top 5 of the professor. Seems like something he's going to do each and every week. If you want to see the video version, it is classic. Just Google the Defo Show. You can check that out right now on channel. You can also check out more of the Defo Show here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, of course, with me, Lubie. Coming up next, we talk with Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, we call him, longtime sports writer, sports reporter down here in South Florida. Also covered news, plus food critic. He comes on each and every week to talk food and sports right here on the Defo Show with Lubie, the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Next. Recently, we realized it's not just hurricane season that can hurt us. Any time of year, things can happen to your home or business. And the insurance company can be your friend, but they also can be your enemy. Horizon Public Adjusters, Justina Testa, are here for you to help this process go so much easier. Before you call the insurance company, call Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa at 954-809-8752. Would you go into court without an attorney? So why would you go up against an insurance company without Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa? 7 to 10 times more money recovered with a public adjuster than if you went on your own. If there's no recovery, there's no fee. Give them a call at 954-809-8752. Why go up against insurance companies alone when you can have Horizon Public Adjusters and Justina Testa on your side? Welcome back to the Defo Show with Lubie right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We wrap up the week, as we do each and every week, on our Ion Morning Show. Again, you can check us out each and every day. If you want to check out a live show with Defo and me, just Google the Defo Show, D-E-F-O. You can check out the video. Also, we have a live stream, Defo and Lubie, D-E-F-O, and the word and, L-U-B-I-E, Defo and Lubie, one word, .com/live/live. You can check that out, audio or video, each and every day. Also, just Google the Defo Show, D-E-F-O, to check out the archives. And every day right here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Plus, we're doing exclusive content. We sit down and have really cool sports and entertainment interviews each and every day on the Believe Podcast Network, Believe.com, search After Hours, both Defo and me on that. We finish off this edition of the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network with the one and only Mike Mayo. Had some technical issues. We figured it out. And Mike talked about Defo and Mike. We're talking about South Florida. This is where we get into the South Florida world. Last night in Delray, they had Meatballs and Tennis Balls. It was, as a Delray Open is going on, there was the Red Meat Lovers Club, something Mike Mayo's a part of, and he judges some of these. They do different events. This week, they're at the Delray Beach Tennis Tournament. And on Thursday night, they did a little event where a bunch of different restaurants came out and put out their versions of meatballs, and it was a tremendous event. And then they went and watched the tennis tournament. So Defo, Mike Mayo were there. They talked about that. They broke it down as only Mike Mayo can do. Defo, of course, gets involved in the conversation. And then we talk about the Super Bowl a little bit as Mike Mayo took off on the professor's idea that it wasn't a great Super Bowl. Mike Mayo joined in on that take. So we talk about that right here. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, on the Defo Show with Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Speaking at a projecting level also helps a lot. It really does. But now it sounds good.
No, there's something hideously wrong, and I have got to try to figure this out because last week it was working perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to blame the curse of Lubie because it was the professor who actually installed this whatever new sound system that was going to allow us to
a virus is
wonderful
basically
things.
what he put in there.
And I think he's a Russian agent, obviously, and it's basically even though I uninstalled and deleted all that software that he put in my computer last week, the bugs are still in here. And for some reason,
you sound good now, though.
Sound fine. So whatever,
you don't even have to worry about it.
I'm shouting in my microphone.
Well,
even
okay.
Even my mother hears me now, and she's totally stone cold.
Mike?
So,
is that you? Okay, I mean, it's good. All right, the event last night, fantastic. I don't know, you said you went in there and watched some of that tennis match? Because the Foss hooked us up when I schnorred for the tickets. So we had a great view. We were right behind, the baseline, sort of in a lower seat, and there isn't a bad seat in that house. But what a terrific event your friend from the Red Meat Lovers Club, Evan Darnell, put on.
Yeah, it was a great time, and I don't know how many meatballs I ended up eating. I know there was a lot of good ones there, and I don't know if Mustang ever got in there, but there wasn't much in the way for non-red meat eaters.
She had the chicken meatball that was made by your friend Suzanne, who has Rose's daughter's restaurant, and what is it, Brûlée?
Brûlée Bistro is where that Asian chicken meatball was from.
She liked it.
It was different. I mean, it had this kind of what was it? A almond butter Asian kind of.
I didn't go that far. I just said, hey, you know what? This tastes pretty good.
Well, it was different, and the thing was, it was I admire somebody who tries to go against the grain and put something out there that's completely different.
Yeah.
But it
didn't work in that contest.
When it's the Red Meat Lovers Club and it's a meatball event, it wasn't a foul ball event. It wasn't a chicken ball event. So I know some of the judges in the judging room kind of arched their eyebrows, and they said, yeah, they liked it. But I don't know if it was in the spirit of the competition. So, but there was a lot of worthy, good, delicious bites there.
Yes.
And even Suzanne's was good. It was just, I needed a.
No, it was out of picture in terms of, it was OOP, the dog racing term that I always fell in love with when you'd see OOP next to a dog from the last race. And, it was good. If it was in a chicken meatball or an alternative meatball type of competition, then a turkey meatball, whatever. It would have been no doubt a stunning knockout. But there were too many good red meatballs there, conventional meatballs, to win in that competition.
Yeah, and I don't know how'd you have it ranked, because it was very close.
I don't know that I tasted them all. And this is why we speculated that for you to do an accurate job and a competent job of judging, you would have had to have consumed about 7.5 meatballs last night.
But you don't have to eat the full meatball.
I know, but it looks awkward when you chuck the plate in the garbage can right in front of the guy from Onions after taking one bite and going.
We had a separate judging room, and you went out to your fancy courtside box, having strawberries and cream with the Queen or the Duchess of York.
You saw the Foss, man. What a great guy! Hooked me up. He's been doing the MC in there for I think since the inception of the tournament, 30 years ago.
Nice. No, and it's really well run event, and they have a nice food court out there. Besides having these special events that they had in a special pavilion off to the side, and it was a really wonderful time. But I did not repeat the same mistake as last month when I went around and ate all the brisket at the brisket boxing competition before realizing and being told that there was a separate judging room with judges' plates later on. So this time, even though I was really hungry coming in there, and I kind of snuck one half of a ball from Windy City before the actual judging room took place. And I went into the judging room, and we had a full slate of judges, including, did you see who was there? Warren Sapp, Mr. Warren Sapp.
Warren Sapp was there. Nice.
He came in there
I did not
late.
see him,
Yeah, no, because you were ducking off. You're such, you had to go.
I really enjoyed watching
strawberries. Yeah, of course, you're a tennis fan.
I mean, it had nothing to do with that, Mike Mayo. You know what? You've lost this feeling. You've lost that love and feeling for sports, but I still dig it. I mean, I enjoy playing tennis, and so, and I will stop, as I was mentioning earlier, and if two guys can really just knock the snot out of the ball at the court next to me, you can't help but turn and watch and go in admiration. Wow, that is great that they can do that. So to see the pros, even like kind of mid-level pros, these guys were ranked like 50th and 80th in the world. Hit the ball from that close. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved every second.
And I got out there after the competition and the judging, and I saw about a game, and then it started sprinkling. And in true South Florida sports fan fashion, I just ran screaming for the exits. I'm getting wet. I can't.
But they couldn't really play. I mean, the conditions become very, very, tentative and treacherous. Especially if you notice they dry off the white lines because it's easy to slip. You don't want to jeopardize a high-level athlete and their career, by just persisting in a rain on a hard court like that.
No,
and they had to stop several times during that match.
Yeah, and all they had to do is lay down some of this Skyline chili because that was just, it definitely helped the whole, surface and prevent the sliding around. Although,
that wouldn't have been very, popular at the meatball thing. Now, I only had two of the so-called conventional meatballs. I had the one from Runyon's, which I thought was fantastic, and I had the one from
Windy City?
Windy City Pizza.
Yeah. Well,
nice. That was great also. I thought both were excellent. I really did.
You chose correctly, my friend, because those ended up being the top two, and it was a very close call among the judges. But, they award two trophies there. One, the judge's choice, and one, the people's choice.
People's choice.
And judges went for Windy City, which was a traditional big all-beef Italian meatball with a really nice sauce that had a little garlic and basil and a very traditional ball. It was tender, but also had some good heft and good meatiness.
Is that beef. Just a pizza place in general, or is it like an Italian restaurant?
Apparently, they have some pretty good meatballs too.
Yeah.
But and it's actually a meatballs throw away from the tennis center there. It's right on Atlantic Avenue in that strip of stores that's just to the west of the tennis facility there in Delray. And they're known for their Chicago, not deep dish pizza, although they have that. They are known for their thin, crisp tavern style. Midwestern pizza, and they have a very good reputation, but apparently they have a full menu. I've never been in there, and I've got to get in there because
those meatballs were great.
I hear some really good things about their thin, crispy Midwestern tavern style pizza, and obviously they make a pretty darn good meatball. So that one narrowly won the judges competition.
Right.
And
how many judges were there? Our friend the Greek was involved.
There was the Greek was there.
But he doesn't eat much. I mean, did he even try it? Did he fudge his vote? The Greek? We need to know.
I was so busy, with the magnifying glass and the microscope with my meatballs. I wasn't paying much attention to all the other judges. Although I did see Warren Sapp was just demanding ice for his Jack and Coke that he was scarfing down the Jack and Cokes, and everybody's got to do what they got to do to get through.
What was Sapp
different meatballs?
I heard somebody that I thought was calling my name. Not that Sapp would recognize me from behind, because he hasn't seen me in 40 years, and I'm obviously not the same physical specimen. And not that I was a specimen then, but certainly I'm a dilapidated version now. But what was he wearing? Was he casually dressed?
I sent you a picture,
okay.
And he's there at the end of the table. It's kind of a aquamarine blue long sleeve. It looks like it says Duck Head. So that's the name of the gear he was wearing, was a Duck Head shirt. So Sapp was there, and he was enjoying his meatballs. There was a city commissioner from Delray Beach was one of the judges, a couple other members of the Red Meat Lovers Club. But we were all in pretty good consensus because it was a very close race between Windy City and Runyon's ended up winning the popular People's Choice vote. And
they went all out. I mean, they put a little pesto on the thing. It was already delicious to begin with. And then they threw a little ricotta, shot on there. What was that? What do you call it? In the culinary world, where they put like a droplet of stuff in there.
A dollop of ricotta cheese.
And it was divine. I have to say that was great.
I because of my reporting nature and my food, I'm a food freak. I ended up talking to all the chefs of the good winning entries, and the Runyon's ball. If you notice, it was particularly very soft and kind of melt in your mouth.
Yeah.
To me, it was almost a little too soft. I like a little more texture. That's why on my judges' scorecard, I narrowly awarded it to the Windy City ball, but.
Couldn't go wrong there.
The Runyon's ball was very good. It was all beef, Wagyu beef.
Ooh.
And the secret was, you know how a lot of people put breadcrumbs or a little bread into their meatball mix along with some eggs? What these guys did, they took bread cubes and dunked it in half and half. Wow. And so it kind of sopped up this
French
cream.
Toast in the middle of
it. Like a French toast. and then they blended that into their Wagyu beef mix. Wow. And then they put it in the fridge for like overnight to let it set and get cold. And he never brought it to room temperature before he cooked the balls. I don't know if he baked them or fried them.
No, is this typically on their menu? Because I've been to Runyon's. That's a place in like what? Is it Coral Springs?
Sample Road, West Coral Springs.
Margate,
it's been there a long time. It's now run by the daughter and son-in-law of the original owner. They bought it out from, I think it's Jack O'Connell, who's a great restaurateur. And they took it
was always
over.
A classic, a standard here in South.
I used to go there with Dougie McLean because the Panthers used to have their, I guess, practice facility. Well, actually, it was before they had the practice facility in Coral Springs, but a lot of the guys lived out in the Parkland, Coral Springs area. And I remember the night that Doug McLean got fired from the team, kind of held a wake.
You took him out to dinner?
Well, he kind of held a wake out there, and like everybody was gathering and commiserating with him. And I remember we had a good number of drinks and some good talk and some good food at Runyon's, and that was a long time ago. But now I don't think they typically have the meatball on their menu, but it came out again when they put it with those, half and half soaked bread cubes in there. It gave it like a really melt in your mouth, creamy quality to it. I found it a little too soft, but it was excellent meatball. It was good flavor. And
they're gonna have to put it on the menu.
A lot of people popular, and it was good to see. The son-in-law who runs it now. And I gave them a not too flattering review right after they took it over.
Very nice.
And but he took it in the right way.
People don't forget that.
No, he had down 7 of their meatballs.
We had a really nice we had a really nice conversation. He said, look, what you wrote was, we took it, we used it to make improvements. They made renovations.
Constructive criticism.
That's the kind of owner that you like. And they're still going strong. They have a very loyal crowd. It's a place that during the pandemic, they were able to survive because they have an outdoor seating area. And he said they learned a lot about the business and how to pivot and how to, do things better and more economically. But they are still having a great go of it out there at Runyon. So I told them I'd be making a return visit soon, and I'll bring you along as my taster, Defo.
I would be happy to go. Did they still have a guy at the piano going, feelings, nothing more than feelings? Did they have a piano bar in there? I want to say yes for some reason.
They do. They do have a piano
all right.
player. Yes.
All right. Let me ask you this. How many other, I didn't really, I noticed there was like a catering place that had a booth with some nice stuff. On the other side of the room there.
Well, they had like a full prime rib boat.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. But and they weren't part of this competition. No. But so you had Runyon's, you had Windy City Pizza, you had Suzanne from
the chicken ball
Brulee Cafe with the chicken ball. So what other, and wasn't there a thing from Prezzo's? I didn't see those guys.
Yeah, Prezzo was there, and their secret ingredient, they had like I guess a competition within a competition, because they have like 5 different chefs at their different locations, and they ended up holding an internal competition to figure out which ball they were going to submit, and they
picked the wrong guy, huh? I mean, I didn't taste that one.
I think they picked the wrong. Well, I liked it, but it was different. They used a 3-meat blend of beef, pork, and mortadella, which is an Italian cold cut. They ground up mortadella to go along with the other 2 meats, and it gave it a little bit more of a spice and a layer of flavor profile. Some people found it a little bit chewier. It was a good ball. Nothing wrong with it. All the balls were quality.
Actually, wrong good, yeah.
And then for the other one was from my friend George Patty at his name is it's Meat Eatery and Tap Room. There's one down in the Keys, and then now there's one up in Boca, and he's famous for hamburgers. But he made a meatball out of chorizo.
Aptly named Patty? Is that his real name?
Exactly.
Or did he change it like, World
like
Beef Free or something?
He's a hamburger guy. That's his name is Patty, Patti. Okay. And he always likes to use chorizo because he gives it a little more of a spice and a different, kind of that South Florida Latino flavor. I don't know if it works so well in the meatball. I found it a little bit overly powerful. So that one did not make the cut in terms of carting off any of the hardware. But again, all the meatballs were good. I ate them all, and kudos to everybody that took part. And again, Evan Darnell and that Red Meat Lovers Club, they run events all the time, and they're always doing things for charity.
Yeah, very impressed.
Yeah, nice, good stuff. So thanks for coming out.
It was nice to see, too, the setup there, as you mentioned. I mean, the food was a little pricey, but nonetheless, great variety of food and drink there at the Delray Beach Tennis Center. It's a really nice event. I've been there before. And, you got to see some high-level quality play when it wasn't raining. And they had the later match. I guess this was being televised live on Tennis Channel, because when I got home, I was thinking, wait a minute, they had some kind of TV coverage here. I would imagine that's Tennis Channel. And I turned it on, and the second match was really good between Grigor Dimitrov, who I guess
good.
Became known when he was like dating Sharapova or something. But he had a little rise to prominence. I think he was compromised by injuries. But you see these guys, and it's real interesting about sports where you have guys that were at the very top level, and now here they are like banging heads trying to grind out a three-setter against the number 100 guy in the world in Delray Beach in front of a crowd of, I don't know, were there 1,000 people in the stands? It was probably held back, the attendance, a little bit by, what was intermittent rain that was happening in and out.
Yeah. Now, were those the quarterfinals? Are they coming up to the semis?
That was round of 16. So
okay.
The quarterfinals are coming up. You saw that guy, Riley Opelko, the 6'11" guy with the monster serve, and that happened. That was an afternoon match, the last match of the afternoon. He was going against an American Jack Sock, and they were banging away. I mean, that was a real good three-setter.
Yeah, it's that time of year where all the events are coming through. I thought it used to all be in March, but now, next week is the Honda Classic already.
Wow.
PGA Tour Golf is coming to town. And
are you going to be involved in any coverage on that for your Best of Delray or something? Or
not they
don't call on your golf expertise?
Not this year, but hopefully next year I'll get out there. But no, I know this because yesterday I was out at that memorial service, a celebration of life for Tim Rosafort, the great golf journalist. And
who of Southeastern journalists? Was at this thing, and I guess national as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw some people I hadn't seen in a while out at Tim's celebration of life, including Jaime Diaz, great golf journalist, and he used to be with Golf Digest, and also
Steve Hummer. I think I saw
Steve Hummer.
Hummer.
Steve Hummer used to be the featured sports columnist at the Sun Sentinel back in the late '80s, and then he went on to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and he just retired a couple of years ago. But he was out there. He was also
legendary in Atlanta, Georgia. Steve Hummer.
Larry Dorman, who now lives in Southern California, and Larry, a little bit older than you, Defo. I didn't realize that, but Larry,
he looks a lot better than I do.
No. You're looking pretty good, my friend. But Dorman, he for a time he was at the Herald, Miami Herald. He was at the Sun Sentinel. He went to the remember the National Sports Daily? He was their golf writer for the National for the
that lasted about 3 weeks?
15 minutes.
Yeah,
it was about 15 minutes. No, it was great. I think
concept though.
They had about 9-month run or something like that, or maybe about a year or so. But
why didn't that work? I mean, they had every great sports writer. You would think that if you were a sports fan, and I remember getting it, and I wasn't moved enough to actually subscribe. So I mean, maybe that tells you, because I'm still. If the goal, newspaper hard copy delivery guy, even in this modern era where nobody gets a paper anymore.
The concept behind it, and it was bankrolled by this Mexican media mogul, Emilio Azcárraga, I think, or something. But anyway, the concept was like the way they have these all sports newspaper. Like Gazzetta del Sporto in Italy or something like that.
El Chapo's publication, yeah.
Yeah, so he wanted to do the same thing in America, but from coast to coast. Now, it's a little difficult in a country that's so big and has so many different teams and so many different sports to follow. So if the goal was to hire all the top-tier talent and spend a lot of money to produce a great product, he did that. That was fantastic. If the goal was to make money, it was a complete bust because they just couldn't make money at it, because these were back in the days where newspapers had their own healthy staffs and sports staffs, and it was really before the advent of the internet, and so people were not prone to pulling away from their local sports publication, from their local newspaper, and finding it in national. So that's why the National went under. Then Larry went on to become, the golf beat writer for the New York Times, and then he parlayed that into being a big executive with the Callaway Golf Corporation.
That was a good move on his part, right?
Callaway
Everybody was swinging that
huge.
Callaway metal wood.
Yeah.
Remember, you know, you had to go out and buy one. And well, were you one of these guys, Mike Mayo? I mean, you dabble in golf, you know, from let's say a recreational standpoint, like I did, because I think everybody that moves to Florida becomes obsessed with golf. If you're, you know, a guy that enjoys playing any kind of sports, and then you get out there and it's fantastic, and you stripe a drive one time, and you can't believe how good it feels. It's like hitting a home run, you know, like you were Bobby Thompson, and you just, you know, help the Giants win a pennant. Then whatever driver you try, though, after you get into some kind of a funk, and then finally somebody says, "Here, try my Yonex or whatever," and you actually, you know, you cream a shot, and then you have to go out and buy one. It costs you like $300 every time you go out and play golf.
Right, and then you can't hit
break yourself out of a slump. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you'll never hit one straight again, and that's why like I never bought drivers. I just schnorred them off of Dorman, and then no, and then the thing was,
so he was supplying you with new Callaways on a regular basis.
No, but maybe one time. But how
about that one that automatically straightened the ball out? I mean, that was a nice innovation there. It had like some kind of spikes in it and grooves that
it didn't work for lefty with a snap hook like me. And I'm strictly a 3-wood guy. I am conservative. Like
you don't take the driver out. Get out of here, man.
I am
you don't
very happy with hitting it straight 200 yards down the middle, because straight 200 yards is a lot better than 280 yards completely to the left and wet. So that's what I've learned. Anyway, it was good.
Something up. I wanted to run by you here.
Well, let's. You know. I have to follow up with the professor. First of all, he was brilliant. He was great.
Brilliant,
I can't believe all the props and all the prep. You know, all I have is my lousy box of Skyline
and well, you know, well thought out. It was really good. Yeah.
And he also well thought out how to destroy my computer and my my future.
No, you sound fine now. You just probably just didn't know how to work the thing.
I should have put your settings back. I didn't think about it.
No, it wasn't even that. I totally uninstalled it. I had no problems on the other thing this week.
All right. Well, we're past that.
But we're past.
What are you doing with this box of Skyline chili?
I'm gonna bring it to you and make you defrost it and No, we've got to go to Skyline Chili. You owe me for the bet, because the bet was.
Lubie's in on this too.
The Bengals plus the 3.5 points.
Was 4 points.
The 4 points and whatever. I'll take 3.5 now. That's okay.
Well, no, that's all you need. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you.
What if it had been a push? Would we be going there? On our own?
Yeah, then we'd go on our own. But
going Dutch,
we'll have to, and we're going to take
a la carte.
We're going to take my friend Chef Jeremy Ford, who's never been to Skyline.
Yeah, get out.
Well, we'll get him on. He was on the show yesterday. He's a good guy. He has that TV show Fast Foodies, and he said he's never tried Skyline Chili, but he seems
won't
like
be
a guy
happy when he does.
This is a man who enjoys Taco Bell, so he's a
Taco Bell is in another category.
Taco Bell's a step up from Skyline.
Taco Bell is highly edible, and especially under the circumstances which you need, which is to be completely inebriated and out of your senses altogether, including taste, to go to Skyline Chili and think you had a satisfying meal.
When are we doing this?
To get back to Professor, and he was totally glomming on my turf, and that might be why he said in the spyware and the bugs. But I do want to follow up on a couple of points that he made. Number one, Guy Fieri absolutely needs de-douching.
Yes.
Yes,
he's right.
What happened to him? I haven't followed him lately. I mean, when did he turn?
He hasn't changed. He hasn't aged. We all age. We mature. He's the same dude he was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
He gets injected with some sort of California formaldehyde, I guess. And, he recently got this huge mega deal from Food Network.
Yeah,
he got,
$200 million.
I thought it was $130 million, $200, whatever it is. Yeah. But the bottom line is, why does he need to go out whoring for an extra $2-3 million from Budweiser for this absolutely fucking swill? Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
That was great.
But it's that Bud Light flavored seltzer is what he was pitching.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: you'll notice, like everybody was like sipping it and saying, "Oh, he was trying to pitch it as a."
It really is a seltzer that's flavored like Bud Light.
Yeah, it's like a soda. I guess what was it? The professor's description. It's like cherry soda flavored malt liquor.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to be able to verify that, because you won't get me to touch this stuff. But you'll notice, because Guy Fieri is the mayor of Flavortown, that's his shtick. And so they were pitching the great flavor of it, and everybody's on there drinking it. You notice Guy Fieri never took a sip of stuff, because this is a little known fact. Guy Fieri doesn't drink beer. He hates beer. He's a wine guy. He drinks wine, and he drinks this Italian aperitif called Fernet Branca, and he loves that. But
I dated her once
beer.
in college for Nate Brentford. She was
but he
a hot babe back then. Now not so hot on Facebook.
No, but Guy Fieri came to this Three Sons Brewery in Dania, which is one of my favorite places, and I knew the chef and the guy who brews these really, really interesting beers. Some of them, which also taste like cherry soda and things like that.
Did he know you, beers. Fieri? I mean, was he aware?
No, I wasn't in there when he taped.
Oh, okay.
No, his producers know me because they scour all like reviews from around the country. Right. And they find out places to spotlight, and they must have found some of the things I wrote because they spotlighted a couple of places that I wrote about.
Le Tub, right? Didn't he go to Le Tub?
Grandpa's.
He tried to go to
as well.
He tried to go to Le Tub. Le Tub threw him out because he wouldn't drink there, and they wouldn't give up all their proprietary secrets. So they told him to get the freak out.
All right.
So,
nice.
But they went to
over-under on the use of the F word by Mayo was 1 and a hook. So you're over.
He's
almost there.
Yeah.
But anyway, he refused to drink any of the beer, even though he doesn't spotlight beer on his show, and they didn't even want him to spotlight it on the show. He just spotlights food, but he wouldn't even just taste it while he was in there. So he is a douche. And number 2, the McDonald's.
I was going to ask you about that.
What they're calling McDonald's hacks.
Land, air, and sea.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this with Burger Beast, Seth Gonzalez, on the Lunchbox show last week, that, Seth was mentioning how McDonald's, when you pull up to the drive-thru, it's not a secret menu. It was actually on their screens on the drive-thru menu that they're calling it the McDonald's hacks. And all they're doing is piling on one piece of garbage on top of another, like a fillet of fish on a Big Mac or a chicken, McChicken sandwich on top of a fillet of fish. And they don't save you any money. They're basically charging the same amount as if you ordered the two of them together and combined it. I don't see any kind of food value in it, but if you want to, if you're into bulimia and just like vomiting up your food, forget the Skyline chili and go with the McDonald's.
Combine them. Yeah, Nordic combined. That would be the vomiting combined.
Once again, we really appreciate everyone who's found us here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, the Defo Show with Lubie. We bring you all of our local content. Yeah, we touch a little bit of national stuff as it pertains to the local, but we are out of South Florida. Been doing a show for almost 12 years out of South Florida. Defo has been covering and talking about South Florida sports on the airwaves down here for 40 years. We continue that right here each and every day on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Thank you to Mike Mayo. Thank you to the professor, Ken Jacobson, for joining us. Again, if you want to check out the video edition of all of that, just Google The Defo Show, DEFO. Check us out Monday morning again, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9. Google The Defo Show on the IN channel. Check us out each and every day. Today, our guest on the Believe Podcast Network After Hours is Debbie Boone. You're like, Debbie Boone. Yes, that is the daughter of the one and only Pat Boone. She was classic. She was hysterical. She was really funny. She's born and raised in New Jersey. You think of Pat Boone, you think old sort of country, calm, cool, collected. Debbie, she was very funny and fun, and we really enjoyed our conversation with her. So definitely check that out. Just go to Believe.com, search After Hours, subscribe, follow that podcast, and we do exclusive conversations with the sports and entertainment world each and every day. And right here with your South Florida content, the Defo Show with the Lubie on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Have a tremendous weekend, everybody.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?